Private videos I can do right now.
Let's look at the street. I can't see it from here. I'll run around. Go ahead, guide there, let me sit around.
So maybe the word. Oh, okay. Yeah. Good morning. Welcome to Entrepreneurs for Christ. My name is Harry, and I'm going to be introducing a very old. But before I do, I want to welcome everybody on Zoom this morning. That's joining us from far away. They can't physically be here this morning. We wish you were here this morning, but we're glad you could tune in. Just a very quick little survey, very quick, I promise, okay? Is there anyone else in this room besides Harry that has benefited from the leadership and the hard labor of the areolas? I'm talking Carlos and No, I want to open with a word of prayer before we bring on the dog. Lord, I just thank you that we're all here this morning. I thank you that after a good little storm last night, you gave the town a bath, okay, badly needed one. And I just ask that this morning, Lord, as people still make their way to this blessed address that you've given to us for this ministry and this church and all the people that affect the kingdom of Jesus, that I ask that you get them here safely. You get them here with their little tails wagging pretty hard, and that you're ready to feed us. We know that many years ago, you anointed this man with the kind of knowledge that has changed many lives, not just in kinesiology, but also in the world of martial arts, okay? Dr. Brian Garrett is more than just a doctor of kinesiology. He is a 6th degree black belt, okay? That's two, okay? And he's here this morning to talk on a topic that I can promise you is going to affect all of our lives at some point or another, and what can happen and the dynamics of how it affects our bodies if, God forbid, we're injured in a car accident of this type. And with that, I want to introduce Dr. Brian Garrett. Yeah!
All right, well, grateful to be here. Thank you for letting me share about this. I've had 3 accidents myself. In America, they say you're liable to have an accident. When I drive, I think they're all out to kill me. And my first accident I had a 1964 Dodge Dart, so the seats were like this, and I went over the top, and my back's never been the same. So one of the problems, they call it soft tissue injury, which is muscle ligaments, discs, joint capsule injuries, and long-term prognosis. And later we'll find out that there's always a residual thing there. You get scar tissue. I have my little joke that I've been playing lately, is that young people are like veal and older people are like beef jerky. That's kind of true. The quality of our tissues is not as good. So here's a typical accident and its effect on the spine. Ouch. But what I think is kind of interesting, remember in the old days, we used to think it was just going back, but actually there's a ramping of it. And there's an injuring of these things right here called the facets. Now here you show 2 ligaments are torn, but actually each vertebra has 10 ligaments. And then it has 5 levels of muscles that surround that, the meat on top. So that's gonna heal, but it's gonna heal the scar tissue. Nobody's ever as good as they were after. So spine, people kind of take it for granted. Thank God we got one. There's 24 vertebrae, 23 discs. You're actually taller in the morning than you are at night because in the morning you've had enough lack of gravity to suck in the nutrients. And after we're 25 years old, we lose the blood supply that goes to the disc. So have you heard of degenerative disc disease or osteoarthritis? Yeah. It's very common, and our goal is to slow it down. There's 31 pairs of nerves, there's 12 pairs of nerves in the brain. There's 186 joints. There's 5 layers of muscles and over 220 ligaments. So a lot of stuff going on. Thank God it's automatic. So one of the things that can happen is you can actually injure it. You can blow out a disc in the low back. And you can actually injure the sciatic nerve. And the sciatic nerve runs through the piriformis muscle in a third of the population in the United States. So a nerve can get intact. Remember we said it's only soft tissue, but that's nerves, discs, spinal cord, brain. Other than that, joints. Not much other than that. So you can get injured with that. And it's very common that people get injured at a disc, and then you'll see that this C5, C6, this is the radiation gain for it. So after we're 25, we get our nutrition from this process called inhibition. That's how you maintain nutrition of it. But it's encompassing or incumbent upon those discs moving. That's why chiropractors do the side view of a rock. So if you're looking this way, lost your blood supply to your disc, you're getting it from the marrow, but these joints here have to move. That's why chiro is adjusted fine. I call it tenderizing the chicken. And we've got some very strong ligaments in this spine. And so this, when you have an injury, this is a joint capsule right here of a couple vertebrae that are connected. But again, that tissue gets torn. What happens? It makes scar tissue. And part of the reason why chiropractors do adjustments is if we let it heal as it is, it'll get tangled. It'll be like bristle in a steak. So bristle in a steak. So we have to tenderize the chicken. So this is just a front X-ray of the neck and just labeling some things. This is the side view, but if you'll notice, there's a little curve in there. There's supposed to be a 35 to 45 degree arch there because your head weighs as much as a bowling ball. So if I were holding a bowling ball, would I rather hold it like this or like this? So you need that curve in there. And even at my best accident cases with young people, they just lose their curve. And so our job is to put the curve back in. Plus, when we get into forward head posture, we lose the curve too. So that's kind of in the overall. And so this is when you lose your curve. Remember, if we go back, there he has his curve. Here he loses his curve. This man's a little working out hard. Here you start to get some arthritis. This is over time. And then eventually, if it gets bad enough, you'll have spinal fusion. Yeah, I think that is one. So this is a side view of a low back, and this is the top view, and this is the disc, and this is the nucleus of the disc. This is the spinal cord and the spinal nerve. So sometimes you can have pressure if it's bad enough. It depends. Usually it's again easier to get better from spinal problems if you're young. So chronic back pain wears out the brain. By an average, 1 year of back pain wears out your brain on an average 10, 20 years of normal aging.
Wow.
But, you know, there's many things that you can do. You know, the problem in America, I think, is, you know, too much inflammation and too much sugar. You know, we're sugaraholics. And then plus, well, the tough thing, you know, it's in everything, and you know, food's adulterated. So this was out of Spine in 2007, and they took 19,000 people. They did 28,000 consultants. They did 50,000 adjustments that had 0 adverse effects. One of the things that people don't know about chiropractic is that the American Medical Association tried to eliminate, contain and eliminate the chiropractic profession in the 60s. And so we had to sue and won, but it didn't really help us because we're not really versed with that. And I think they could use us. We're more popular now. Now they don't hate us and the young guys don't. Well, they had a lot of, in the 60s, if you were a medical doctor, you went to a party and there was a chiropractor there, you had 15 minutes to get out.
Really?
Yeah, it was serious, you know, we were rabid dogs, cracking necks. You should have joined them though.
Quick question, how did you correlate 1 year back? And engagement? I have no understand, but I saw the ratio, but it's like, where are you getting the 10 to 20?
How we measured the gray matter
Okay.
with brain scans. So anyway, stay. Oh, so this one's good.
Oh.
So that's head injury, mild traumatic brain injury. But would you call it mild? If it was yours?
Yes.
But they make, you know, I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but remember, you, in LA, it's definitely more prominent, but, lawyers advertise on TV for accident cases, things. You know, they call them ambulance chasers and stuff, but people really have real injuries, and, people need representation because they're fighting the insurance companies. And, you know, in the end of my point of view, I'll say you're never as good as you were before. How much is that worth? And that's for you and your lawyer and all that to get. Yeah, because I don't know, you gotta really take it. Kind of gets back to my thing about, you know, it's easier to clean window. So if you can take care of yourself in your life and do the things that you know to be right, you know, I mean, when I was a kid, my dad, he got hooked on smoking at 11 years old. You know, now there's less smoking, I guess, the vaping thing is coming, everybody's got a vape and all that, but, yeah, head injury is a bad thing. And traumatic brain injuries, 20% come from accidents, but 28% from falls, assaults, bike accidents. I've been treating more and more bike accidents. And your bike lanes.
That aren't very full.
Well, yeah, I agree. So this study showed that a single traumatic brain injury could have long-term duration. So about 1.7 million Americans have a TBI every year, and it can lead to other cognitive impairments like dementia and Alzheimer's. So don't have them, but you can't control it. Stay out of their way. They're all out there trying to kill you. You have to have you start that again. The bruising of the brain. Bruising of the brain. That's good. Yeah, concussion. Yeah, so they used to think that if you did go unconscious, it wasn't a concussion. A mild traumatic brain injury says you're not going unconscious. But people have a lot of concussions. Well, you saw it, right? In most sports, they all had it. So the NFL set aside a fund until it ends. And I'm sure all the contracts of today say, you know, work with your physician, your concussions. So there's a lot of referred pain. Sometimes people have, like, this is mine. I've got a degenerative disc here, and then I have this. So I got a little massager thing in the morning. I just tear it out. All that doesn't fix the problem, but it at least makes it feel better. So people have, go ahead.
So the traumatic brain injuries, that's all the way down in literally the hot warmer level, right? Because I don't know if you guys have seen some of this stuff on Instagram, and I don't have a TikTok, but where everybody goes, ooh,
Yeah.
oh, you see like 9-year-olds getting their life knocked out, playing.
Well, Ditka said if he knew what it was, he would never, him and his family would have never played. But Americans like it. I live in San Diego, so we don't have a team. We never had a winning team. But I'm from the Bay Area. We had a lot of winning teams, but now the Raiders are in Vegas, and the 49ers are in Sunnyvale, the Sunnyvale 49ers. And play your own risk. For me, I was so small as a kid that I'm not going to play football. So those are referred pain areas that people can have after an accident. And this is actually interesting because the one on the left is pain referred from the bone. When the bone, these here, cause this and this. And these over here are all trigger points. We get trigger points. So that's, I guess, the beauty for chiropractic, because everybody has problems in the spine. But for me, because I do a lot of medical legal, I have to distinguish between those. And so this was an accident analysis and prevention, and it was 17 years of research, and they found out that 55% of the people still had problems due to the original trauma. So if you're in insurance, you want to wrap this thing up and get it,
Traumatic brain injuries, are they treatable, and to what extent?
Depends on the degree. I have some cool techniques I've been playing with lately in the brain, and had pretty good results. Because kinesiology was already controversial within chiropractic. I got it in neurology. Then everybody had I make up my joke because I want to when my sisters that work that. And I make up a thing called right Mondo. So people kind of make up their own little thing, and we have technique for it in chiropractic. And for me, I have one guy to adjust my spine. I've got another guy who does my kinesiology. So, but so you want to, do the best you can. And this one, the Journal of Orthopedic Surgeons said 15 to 40% of all and motor vehicle accident will have chronic pain. And it's not only in pain, but other things, food, because remember, pain fires up your hormone system. And in the hormone system, there's 3 stages to stress. There's the alarm stage, the resistance stage, and the exhaustion phase. I say that most people are in the resistance stage. And why that's true is that because when you're in stress, you have digestive problems. We spend $25 billion a year over the counter in digestive aids.
They're wrong.
Well, we could talk about, I won't get too deep into it, but all drugs have side effects. So for me, I try to be as natural as I can. I had cancer 4 years ago, and they got mad at me because I wouldn't take enough of the medication. Although it was more for them, because I was doing pretty good. I was getting acupuncture along the way, so I did pretty good. So yeah, it hurts the overall body because it wears out your nerve system and it wears out your immune system. Because remember, under stress, our digestive system, our immune system, and hormone system go out of balance. And that kind of leads to the other part of the plastics. I'll go back to the plastics again. Plastics are hormone disruptors, so they're pro-inflammatory. And so that's it. So,
It's one simple question, skip upside down where guy inverts himself on his teeter thing. Does that help?
Yeah, actually it does, it balances, the nerve system is broken into two pieces. The fight or flight or the relaxation. And relaxation is called parasympathetic. When you're hanging upside down, it stimulates your parasympathetic system.
What's the recommended time to hang upside?
Well, I can only do it like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay, setting or breaks up?
Well, the ones I like are the ones that are the bed, the little teeters. Some people in the gym will put the little boots on and hang themselves to a bar. Got the more system.
Why is the heater better
Because you've got back support. Because
than?
they're
Quantitative, so what does that do? Besides rushing blood to your head?
it actually stimulates the autonomic nervous system and balances it out. Not the end all be all, and there's other things that can be there too.
So on a 0 to 10 for effectiveness, if you would say, for whatever, for general health, is that 5, 6, 7,
I'm
1?
gonna say 6 or 7.
It's a 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a big thing. Remember, again, we said in the morning, your disc is big. While you put gravity on it, it goes down smaller, so it helps with the inhibition of the pumping of that disc.
Gravity.
Yeah.
Is helping.
Okay.
So gravity is great because it stops you from getting osteoporosis, but it's kind of bad when it wears out your disc, or if you have something, you know, you see someone walking unevenly with a limp, they're generally degenerating that area, kind of with every step they take. So that's kind of the very basic, from my point of view, is balancing out.
So that would be if somebody who has like, let's say osteoarthritis of the hip or arthrosis of the hip, they should be doing the hanging. Would that help with
Yeah,
that
I think so.
situation?
I just wanted to go back to the scar tissue thing. How long after the injury can people massage scar tissue?
It's a great question. They've done studies, and study is, they call them a golden period is the first 43 days. But I personally also go, I've got my little massager, I go to my Thai massage, people, and they get in, tear it up and walk on me, and you know, I gotta beat up this whole body.
So just to follow up on that, does that apply to scar tissue just regarding the neck or the back, the spine? Or does that apply to scar tissue in other parts of the body?
Everywhere. Yeah, that's why, you know, flexibility, as you injure the shoulder, you gotta get the joint right, make sure all the units work and help it work, and you've got to break up the scar tissue. And I, you know, I think we all just for stress, and it's, you know, insurance company wouldn't want you to say it, but I think everybody probably needs a massage every week.
So you mentioned plastics, is that in regards to like the credit card size amount of plastic that we all have in our body?
Every
Plastic.
lot.
So
Yeah.
can you go into more about the plastics?
Yeah, well, you know, I think I've looked it up. I think there's 1.2 billion plastic bottles used every day in the world. And it was, Johns Hopkins found that like 12 years ago. So I haven't drank out of plastic in a long time. But, you know, I don't trust. I still trust.
Yeah, I was running 67 miles a week, major lower back. To the doctor had me say, well, you need to work on your strength, your lower back. So I was going to therapy, $35 a pop, twice a week, physical therapy, 45. And so I just got off the treadmill, and I can't keep this cost too much lower back pain. So I just stopped running, got on the lift. Since I've been on the lift, and lower back pain.
That's great, and you're smart. Running, if you look at the G forces, I think you get like 5 Gs every time you hit the ground running. Well, if you're beef jerky, that running ain't gonna be that great. If you're veal, you have a lot more flexibility in there. Plus, I joke a little bit, but remember when we're younger, we're more elastic. And that was one of the things that, yes, you will make scar tissue, but scar tissue is thinner. It's more adhesive, so it gets tangled. And the analogy I use, some of you are probably too young, but then when I was a kid, we had these yellow jump ropes. And then imagine that being heated, all tangled on itself, and then untangled or unheated. it's all tangled. So that's why with my Spanish patients, I tell them I'm tenderizing the chicken. I gotta learn how to say it in Spanish.
Gut, like in your stomach
Huh.
too?
Probably, I mean, I think that rule is universal. You'd have to find maybe a visceral adjuster. There are people that adjust the viscera. And at least take the, for our point of view, because remember, every cell, tissue, and organ is talking to the brain. You get 3 billion impulses per second. Thank God it's automatic. But sometimes when you're getting a bad message, or remember, most people are under stress, and that's going to manifest itself. Chiropractors say it manifests itself into this alignment, but in kinesiology, there'll be weak muscles or gene problems or other things that aren't optimal.
Hey, Doc, I know that you've heard, many stories about my father, cerebral scoliosis, okay? And, obviously, this technology has advanced insanely since the early sixties, when he was rear-ended in a car accident. Somebody hit him and drove him into the car in front of him. How do you know, I know that the human body has an amazing way of correcting itself at some point in time. I can't imagine it couldn't have got much worse than he already was. But how would he have benefited from kinesiology or just a good old fashioned spinal adjustment?
Well, I got into kinesiology when I was at a chiropractic college. And we were doing some things with scoliosis people. A lot of times people just normally, you know, that's the bad news of a chiro. You see people like this, you see them walking uneven, you see that's just how we see the world. And so they do check for scoliosis for young girls in grade school because if it progresses, they can end up, you know, they can keep progressing and put pressure on both themselves. That's why they do the Harrington rods. It's one, I'm going to call it idiopathic. We don't know what causes it. Two, there definitely is some relationship between the jaw, the shoulder, and the hip that are all neurologically developed and communicate with each other. But I say, I did do a 2-year fellowship working on that, and they go, I know, it's not for me to work on that. That's for other people.
At the beginning of your education seminar here today, you mentioned it a little bit about, for example, you didn't say the word, like workman's comp. I know a lot of times when folks are going through what they're going through, it's no to the chiropractor. Go. Right, and what would you say to anybody that's dealing with chronic pain?
Well, work comp is a hopeless area in the chiropractic area. People never get better. They did a study in Washington where they found that if the patient started with the chiropractor versus an MD, the MD patient had 45 times more likely to get back surgery. So, not against back surgery if you need it. I'll drive you over there. But you know, most people, my number one way that I get in these patients is a threat with back surgery.
What, after back surgery?
No, before they know. You know, it's not figured out. It's the low back is a very complicated area.
Yeah, it is. The MD refers to the chiro, right?
I get doctors who come to me who are being threatened with having to have a back surgery themselves. Doctors, which is, like I told you, they know not what we do. They don't understand.
Well, that's a vote of confidence.
Yeah, no, we're not the baddest guys anymore. I don't know who the baddest guys are.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, I have heard that weight training is really good for, in terms of osteoporosis, to prevent that.
Yeah,
Can you
sure.
speak to that?
Yeah, everybody needs to do cardio and athletes. In the reports, but I think I go to hot yoga. You gotta find your way. But you know, knowing, I guess for me, knowing that I'm deteriorating, and my dad, I'm 64, my dad died at 65, he smoked since 11, he was depressed, you know, note to self, that's all the things I don't want. So,
I have a personally, I had a knee problem And I went to 5 doctors, they said, you need a knee replacement. And I heard through, so, this word of mouth, that there's a guy named Tasto, so totally different people said, hey, go see Tasto. He walks me in, he says, do 2 knee bends, he says, you just need physical therapy. So my opinion of doctors, you don't even want to know.
This is a machine.
By the way, all of their licenses, they swore, no, you need, they are, and it starts with a W.
I will say one thing, when the doctors went on strike, the death rate went down. Now, hold on, those guys saved my life. And I look forward to getting the camera down my nose, and my guy just did that 2 weeks ago and gave me the call. But it was kind of, exciting. But the first time he did it, I said, you should use that as an al-Qaeda torture. That was camera down the nose, don't feel that.
Now you're coming up. Up with a friend, family member. Okay. Invite him next week. Susie has a special speaker coming next week. She's going to be able to tell us what it's about. Always special. Oh.
You want to doc Prince money?
My friend, used to run in the city with his name, has quite a story. The garden that was like 2 years ago, the local nursery, and it's built a fantastic business, 6-figure business, significant. So a lot of hard work. Greg knows her. She, for 8 years in a row, was the strongest woman in America. So she traveled the world weightlifting. Last week she was at the gym and evidently she's doing cross training and she deadlifted like 400 pounds. Whoa! Who's trying to start a business, any young women who would like to see somebody who's really built something that's significant, and invite them next week. Love to have the place full up because she's really something. Tremendous. All right. Let me pray for us. All right. Lord, thanks so much for this opportunity. Thank you that you're here, you're with us, you love us, you know our ways, and you guide our steps. Pray that you would do that throughout this next week, and that we would be listening to you and loving you and worshiping you. We pray in your mighty name. Amen.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming to another wonderful presentation here at EFC. We'll see you back here next week for this magnanimous speaker. Devin, I'd like to see 400 pounds. That's fine. I can't. Really? Do you have your own head? Okay, so folks at home, I know you can't always be here. I know some of you folks watch this on the replay, so if you can, try to get here in person next week. And we always have a wonderful mortgage board of preference, coffee, things like that. So you don't even have to eat breakfast anymore. You just wake up, maybe brush your teeth. Don't love you. And then come on through. We'd love to have you. We've got plenty of seats. And it's a wonderful time of fellowship and networking. It's just a different vibe as being here. So appreciate you tuning in. Love you guys. We'll see you next week. We'll see you all in 7 exciting days. Blessings on you as you go.